beyond, understand the trends, innovations and corporate deals that are building Asia. On Asia First, Monday mornings on CNA.
I'm getting my COVID-19 vaccine.
Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in.
And documenting all my side effects. Bam, the soreness set in. But with cases of infection among those who are vaccinated, how protected am I?
Now what we're seeing are actually mutants, which are quite different from the original strand.
Talking Point, Friday 9:30 p.m. on CNA.
As I live my life, I am increasingly surprised by my strength, my determination, by the power of my beliefs. I find reward in the honesty of my endeavors, proud of what I have achieved, and convinced there is much more I can do.
This is Asia Tonight.
Good evening, I'm Dawn Tan. Tonight's top stories. Deadly Cyclone Yas batters eastern India. Tens of thousands of homes destroyed and more than 1 million people forced to flee. Tighter restrictions and penalties imposed under Taiwan's COVID-19 alert. More medical support for the Tokyo Olympics, but there are more calls to cancel the games, with risks to public safety highlighted. Hospitals in Singapore ramp up precautions against COVID-19 after a series of positive cases among healthcare workers. The blaze on a Singapore-flagged ship carrying chemicals rages for a 6th day off the coast of Sri Lanka. India has sent ships to help.
I'm Steve Lai. Also tonight, another record number of new COVID-19 cases in Malaysia. And South Korea encourages people to get vaccinated. Those vaccinated won't be required to wear a mask outdoors.
I'm Elizabeth Neo with your Asia Business Update. China mounts a bid to become a global wealth hub. Plus, AstraZeneca inks a deal to supply the vaccines in Japan days after Tokyo approved the shot.
At least 2 people have died in the latest cyclone to hit India. Howling winds and huge waves from Cyclone Yas slammed the east coast of the COVID-stricken country.
Devastation laid bare as a powerful cyclone battered eastern India. Tens of thousands of homes have been destroyed, trees uprooted, with villages underwater. Towns were swamped by waves the height of a double-decker bus. Cyclone Yas made landfall in Odisha state, packing wind gusts of up to 140 kilometers. It's the second major storm to ravage the country in less than 2 weeks. More than 1.5 million people in Odisha and neighboring West Bengal had to flee to shelters, but their hopes of returning home are fading fast.
যে গরু ছাগল সবাই আছে আমরাও আছি মানুষজন দেখুন আপনারা চলুন গোটা আপনারা দেখুন পুরো গ্রাম ভেসে যাচ্ছে
Nearly 5,000 disaster workers have been sent out with aid in the 2 states. The cyclone is a double blow for millions in India as there is no respite from COVID-19. Several vaccination centers in threatened areas had to suspend operations, while in emergency shelters, maintaining social distancing measures remains a major challenge.
Neha Punya joins us from New Delhi for more on this story. Neha, Cyclone Yas has weakened, but many areas they're under the threat of flooding.
Absolutely. The cyclone might have weakened, Dawn, but the threat is far from over. Most experts are saying we can still expect wind speeds of more than 100 kilometers per hour for the next 6 hours at least. And these strong gusts of wind are being accompanied by heavy rainfall. We've seen flooding along many coastal regions as well as interior villages. The government of West Bengal, one of the states that was in the path of the cyclone, has said that already 300,000 houses have been damaged in the aftermath of the cyclone, and more than 10 million people, the government there claims, have already been impacted. We've seen similar devastation in Odisha as well, where many coastal towns have seen flooding and inundation, and officials there urging people not to go back to their homes just yet, saying that the worst is far from over. The state of Jharkhand, which is incidentally a landlocked state, is now next in the line in the path of the cyclone, and it's been put on high alert and evacuations have begun. But it's quite likely that these conditions will play out for another 6 hours, after which the cyclone is expected to weaken much further.
Neha, many people have been evacuated to relief centres. How are authorities making sure that those centres don't become COVID-19 super spreader sites?
Well, it is a huge concern, especially when you look at the states that have been impacted by this cyclone. Odisha, West Bengal, Andhra Pradesh, these all regions that have in the last few weeks seen a huge uptick in numbers. They're dealing with the coronavirus having reached interior areas where already healthcare services have been far from robust. So it is a problem. But, officials are saying that they've cut capacity at many of these relief centers by half, and they've set up additional centers to deal with these contingencies. They're talking about in Odisha, for example, setting up an additional 6,000 relief centers in addition to the 900 they already had on standby to deal with such weather conditions. In West Bengal, about 4,000 such centers have been set up. At these centers, you also have officials handing out masks to everyone, enforcing safe distancing. Health teams are on standby, but most experts are saying it's likely not going to be enough, because we are seeing, more than 1 million people who have been evacuated, and it's unclear how long they might have to stay at these relief centers, given the kind of devastation we're already looking at.
Neha, thank you for that update. Neha Punya there in New Delhi.
Taiwan is further tightening restrictions under its Level 3 virus alert. Violators of mask wearing and business closure rules will be penalized. Restaurants cannot offer dine-in services. Weddings and funerals, along with all religious activities, are suspended. Taiwan has reported more than 600 new COVID-19 cases. It is struggling to inoculate residents, blaming China for blocking vaccine deals. Only about 1% of Taiwan residents are vaccinated. Taiwan is now 2 weeks into its strictest virus restrictions yet. Victoria Jen reports.
Taiwan is not under a hard lockdown yet, but many shops have voluntarily shut down since authorities raised the alert level to the second highest of its 4-tier system 2 weeks ago.
到第3级了，其实有点扩散的状况，我们也当然不希望被感染到或者怎么样的，所以能少出来就是尽量避免出来这样。
没生意啊，你看就知道啦，因为店家都没有营业啊，大概剩1成吧。At level 3, people are required to wear masks at all times in public and observe safe distancing. There's also a ban on indoor gatherings of more than 5 people. For outdoor gatherings, no more than 10 people are allowed. This is Ximending, also known as the Harajuku of Taipei. It sits in the Wanghua district, the epicenter of Taiwan's worst outbreak of COVID-19, which has turned the once bustling district into a ghost town. A few blocks away from the trendy shops lies the red light district of Taipei, where close to 200 hostess bars, known as tea parlors locally, are located. The tea parlors have been blamed for triggering the island's worst outbreak since the pandemic began. A patron infected the hostesses in early May, leading to a surge in new cases. All the tea parlors have since been ordered to shut down. Taiwan has reported more than 4,000 new cases since May 15th. Authorities have extended a level 3 alert for 2 more weeks to avoid a hard lockdown. Medical systems in the worst-hit cities like Taipei and New Taipei are already reaching their maximum capacities, so patients